Hi, I'm Ryan Croce.
And I'm Cole Smith, and we're paranormal investigators.
And this is Knights of the Dark. We are paranormal investigators researching stories throughout Saskatchewan.
You'll see exactly what we see. No sound effects, no scary music, and no video effects.
In this episode, we explore Saskatchewan Stonehenge, Roche Percee. As the Yorkton storm hunter, I've experienced terrifying natural phenomenon. I've stood in front of tornadoes and massive shelf clouds. I'm an award-winning photographer, graphic designer, and I've had paranormal experiences since childhood. I'm just here to try shedding some light on this darkness.
Like Ryan, I've been exposed to paranormal activity since childhood. My grandmother was infamous for her seances held in Winnipeg, where I grew up. And my father continued that research rather extensively through books and study groups, and it was anything but weird for me. It was a lot of fun. I like to take a scientific approach to these investigations. I think belief is the biggest danger. I can present all of the evidence, but ultimately it's going to be your belief system that determines your interpretation of the data.
We don't embellish anything. We're not about the ratings. We don't punch things up before a commercial because we're on Axis 7. There are no commercials.
Knights of the Dark merchandise available at knightsofthedark.com.
Typically the crew consists of just Ryan and myself. That way we have total control over the camera, the entire scene, the editing, and the results, which we bring you as honestly as possible. Today's episode, Roche Percee, or Roche Percee. It's French, and it's French for pierced rock. Located south of Assnipwan lies a monolithic and magnificent outcropping of sandstone formations, including towers, buttes, caves, and thousands of inscriptions and carvings, many dating back hundreds of years.
This site was part of the Red River Trail, landmark to settlers, natives, RCMPs, soldiers, and outlaws. Ancient native petroglyphs can be found, and the most prominent were carved on the crown at the entrance, but a lightning strike toppled the giant piece, and the flooding eventually eroded it.
There are so many legends attributed to Roche Percee that the only one missing, I think, is Frankenstein. I mean, there's stories of ghosts and demons, disembodied voices, shape-shifting werewolf that the natives call the Rugaroo, and there's tales of UFOs and a cannibalistic cave-dwelling giant. And probably the most weirdest of all is the fact that this could have been the hunting ground for none other than Jack the Ripper.
England, 1853. John George Dobkin escaped prison and fled to Saskatchewan to work at the sod mines, now known as Roche Percee. He was a prime suspect in the Jack the Ripper murder case.
All right, enough talking. Let the adventure begin. We'll show you the results at the end of the episode. There's the blooper reel.
Okay, so it's nightfall, and this is us. If the audio kind of suffers, it's because we're using a internal mic. We're not at optimum conditions because of the rain, and plus it makes it a lot easier to run when the monster shows up. So sure, yeah. We did notice some bats. I mean, what is a cave without bats, right? You know, none here. Show me where the bats are. Let me go see where they are. There we go. They're cute little fellas, actually.
I named the one Kim. Not really picking anything up on the EMF meter.
You're not picking anything up?
No. Markings in here.
How far did you get in?
I'm almost at the top.
Well, I don't think I'll get my fat ass.
It doesn't go much further.
Okay, well, I would say let's, well, we got some awesome carvings here.
Hello.
Okay, well, let's set up and do our EVP session. Well, I'll tell you what, you set your camera up in there for an EVP, and I'll set mine up in this one for an EVP, and we'll just see what we get. Okay. If there's anything or anyone or any energy, you got a few minutes. Peaceful. I wouldn't exactly say relaxing, but it's peaceful.
Definitely peaceful.
I think we should go this way, Ryan, unless you're... And that was the last we saw of Ryan.
Awesome, these caves. A little leery, but awesome. Some markings.
Okay, we're at 11.
Big puddle in front of you.
See it.
Just had a spike here for half a second of 0.35. There we go again. Whoa. See that again.
You get a spike?
Yeah. Shot up to 1 and then I shot up to 0.47. Just as I was crossing over this. No, there's nothing. That was really weird.
We could explore this place for
Hours.
like, hours. There's no shortage of noises here. It's just how you interpret them. Could be bats. There's people who live across the street. Horses, giraffes, you know, the usual. Well, partner, I think it's time to head out of Dodge. Get out of town before sundown.
It's easy to get spooked at Roche Percee. People have for thousands of years. In fact, when you go there, you have the feeling of being watched.
The dual EVP sessions proved inconclusive after extensive scrutiny by Ryan, who spends hours and hours going over all the audio and the video. Should anything anomalous occur, we'll dissect and descend on it, you know, and we'll check it out frame by frame, wavelength by wavelength, and pixel by pixel. But you did get some spikes with the EMF, however.
Yes, at the crown of the entrance, there was a pretty nice spike, which is weird because it's quite a distance away from the caves.
I think you had quite a few of them, as we saw on the show.
Yeah.
And we went during the daytime and we checked it out, and obviously we had found no electricity, nothing that could possibly generate that kind of energy. Now, speaking of the caves, there was a nomadic tribe in the 1800s that found that they had to winter there. They were caught in a storm. And so their reports is that there was a large white man in the area who was creeping around, and they claimed that he abducted some of the women and murdered and ate them. So this legend, well, let's look at it this way. The timeline corresponds perfectly with the Jack the Ripper suspect who was in the vicinity at the time. So could it be that Jack the Ripper actually continued his operations here in Saskatchewan? Now, one thing that we did capture was orbs.
Yes, and they're a thing of controversy. Some people believe, some don't. I myself am not so much. Compact cameras pick them up really well. I claim it to be mostly dust spots. SLRs are something that seems to be a lot harder to catch them. But at the same time, some of the stuff I've caught were, you know, streaking uprise instead of down, and just sometimes doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, Ryan is a professional photographer as well as a storm hunter, so if anybody knows raindrops and film, it's you. So the thing is that, you know, I guess we don't have to call in an expert. You've just never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this, and we're going to show you right now. This is a traditional example of what you might see as an orb photo, albeit a high-octane version of such. I was present when this was taken, and this was not at Roche Percee. This was at a fire at Gull Lake, Manitoba. What do you make of this?
Pretty much when you take a shot with a compact camera like this, think of it like holding a glass up towards the sun, and you get that prism effect, and you see all the little markings under glass.
So it's dust and reflection, something that's generated by the light source, and refracting as a prism would.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense, and nothing mysterious about that, although it looks fantastic. Okay, so now let's go on to the Knights of the Dark merchandise, available at knightsofthedark.com. If you like a little iron in your drink. So this next one here, this is the plaque at the entrance of Roche Percee. And as you can see, it just looks normal until you have a good look, and Ryan's highlighted in red. Here, you can see. So explain why you think these are different.
Well, when you look at them, they've all got a little trail. Think of it like a comet. And the ones that aren't highlighted don't have those. Those are just regular dust. And these seem to have sort of taken on a life of their own. They're streaking upwards. And any photographer would know that if it was raining, rain goes down.
This is my pensive scientific look. Yeah, okay, so generally what we're looking at here is an anomaly. And we're going to show you all of them. We'll show you them as Ryan's highlighted them in red. So check these out. I think you'll find them very interesting. If you've learned anything from this show, it's don't fool around with anything that you don't understand.
Or you'll have us coming to your house.